Afternoon, Mr. and Mrs. Jewels. Hello, Blue. And congratulations on getting your license today. How exciting is that? I hope your parents will have you drive them home from here, I guess. Um, Please come on in and make yourselves comfortable. Um, Thank you for choosing this practice. My name is Vinette Love, but please call me Vinette. Yes, Blue, please call me Vinette. That includes you. Mr. and Mrs. Jewels, I understand that you were referred by an inpatient unit, but I would like to gather some information about you, just get to know you, and then we can discuss the events that led to your being here. However, before we begin, I would like to explain that we will be participating in a discussion that each of you might find stressful, or you might even disagree with the speaker's opinion or recollection of an event. This is not unusual, as you are a family and we are here so I can gather your information and identify some ways to help you as a family. However, I'm interested, however, I'm insisting that you do not disrupt the speakers. When you are speaking, please do not disrespect each other and absolutely no yelling. I will acknowledge you and I will invite you to speak after the other person has finished. So, Mrs. Joel, in that you had invited Mrs. Joel, in that you had initiated the contact, would you like to give me some more information about your family, this family, your husband and your children? You can start with Blue and how exciting he was about his driving test today. Then, Mr. Jewels, you can tell me about your semi-retirement. Blue, you will not choose between your parents, but you will tell me how you communicate with them and what types of responses you get from each parent. Segment 2. Blue shared his intentions of going to an out-of-state college, which resulted in Mr. Jewels looking distraught while Mrs. Jewels blamed her husband for possibly losing one more child. Mr. Jewels then blamed his wife for constantly yelling and complaining to the children, while Mrs. Jewels blamed her husband for not speaking with the children, not listening to her, or helping her around the house. At this point, I had to intervene. Mr. and Mrs. Jewels, we must stop and listen to each other. And here in this room will be the ideal place for you to start listening. As a family, you've had some challenges. Yes, your daughter is not home now, but she is receiving the treatment she needs. While you are here seeking help to continue helping her and reducing the other challenges that you have. Also, congratulations to you both that Blue is intent on going to college. Blue, I would like to hear more about your college choices during your next visit. Mrs. Jules, would you mind telling us more about the help you need around the house and why aren't you getting help? Segment 3. Mrs. Jules, I hear you saying that you have a full-time job, yet your husband does not appreciate or understand that you also have too many household duties. While Mr. Jules, you haven't agreed with that comment, but you agree that you have ignored her whenever she becomes emotional. My question to you, Mr. Jules, is have you ever told my question to you, Mrs. Jules, is have you ever told your husband that you're tired and asked for help with some of the duties? Have you thought about sharing the duties amongst all of you in the house? Mr. Jules, do you know at least two things that would make your wife upset? And can you help to reduce or avoid those situations so she will not become emotional? Or can you just ask her what is wrong and help her through it rather than avoiding her? Now, Mr. and Mrs. Jules, I think you are a wonderful couple. I think you are a wonderful couple. Mrs. Jules, I commend you for being there for your husband over the last 5 years while he has been unable to work. Mr. Jules, being forced into retirement because of injury can be devastating, but you are still with your family and you are here today. This tells me that you are a strong family who is willing to work together. So, what I would like you to do before your next appointment is talk to each other. Don't just talk about the children or the bills, but talk about yourselves. Mr. Jules, if your wife doesn't ask you to share the household duties, then please volunteer to do things you can manage. Talk to your husband. Tell him when and why you are upset, but also tell him when you are pleased. Ask him for help and accept his offer to help you. During your next visit, we will discuss more about the children. Blue, congratulations again on the license and be careful while driving. Thank you all for coming.